morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you all doing? It's Kenshin here, and today we're going to be talking about the release of the new 3 Days Grace single, The Human Race. It came out a little early, but it's here, and I've listened to it several times, and I'm here to give my thoughts on it. And they're not altogether great. Now, hear me out, and we'll have a little discussion, and maybe you'll see things my way. I'm not expecting to get a lot of people to agree with me here, and I'm not trying to hate on the band in any way, shape, or form, but this is just my critique. So, as you all know, the band was originally with the original frontman and lead singer and creative genius, Adam Gontier. Of course, that's how they had many songs such as Animal I Have Become, Pain, Riot, Never Too Late, Time of Dying, Home, I Hate Everything About You, Just Like You. Some great songs that everybody knows and everybody loves them. They're great. And then, not too long ago, a few years back, they released Transit of Venus, with the, of course, awesome songs Chalk Outline and Misery Loves My Company as the singles. Of course, those were very strong, as was the whole album. Though my favorites are still the first two, I still think it was a very strong piece. Now, not too long after Transit of Venus was released, Adam Gontier left the band. Now, this continues to be a massive source of controversy with the fans. I'm not here to get into that. To me, it doesn't matter if you love Adam, or you hate him, or you love Matt, or you hate him. It doesn't matter. Adam's gone, and of course, that really worried a lot of fans. Everyone was like, oh, is 3 Days Grace going to continue? What's going to happen? Of course, I was worried too. But thankfully, Matt Walst, Brad Walst's brother, who's also in the band, came in and filled in the role. And of course, he did tremendously. I saw 3 Days Grace at Edgefest a few months before they released Transit of Venus. Of course, Adam Gontier blew it out of the water. I also saw 3 Days Grace a few months after they released Transit of Venus up in Rochester when they were with Matt. And though Matt was still early on in his performing career with the band, still warming up to things, he did a tremendous job. I thought it was great. He filled in the role wonderfully. And of course, he's from My Darkest Days, so he has had experience in the past. But he walked into the role in 3 Days Grace wonderfully. Now, people are just still wishing Adam would come back, Matt would leave, they love Matt, they hate him, whatever, it doesn't matter. Adam's gone working on his own solo career. I'm excited to hear what he can make. Now Matt's with 3 Days Grace. Now, as you can tell, I'm a 3 Days Grace fan. They were one of my favorite bands when I was in middle school, and I still continue to enjoy their music to this day. You know, I was big fan of their self-titled and 1X, then into Life Starts Now, and then, you know, eventually into Transit of Venus. But their first two albums are really what's important to me. Even though I love the other ones, those are the ones that I can remember listening to when I needed that emotional feeling through music. So now we have Matt, and the band has indeed taken a new turn. And I'm so glad that Matt has stepped into this role so well and just pioneered into some new creative work and has just kicked ass. I'm really happy about that. But the thing is, the songwriting has suffered majorly. Mainly in the form of the lyrics. 3 Days Grace has never been a band to use complex time signatures and crazy guitar solos and stuff like that. So it's not like they were 1 minute pulling off insane, you know, level guitar solos like on the level of Velocity by Obscura. That just doesn't happen. They're not that kind of band. But the lyrics had some sort of potence to them and some sort of feeling. Now, I was expecting obviously a shift when Matt got into the studio, but it was perhaps a little too drastic. Now, as for the musical side of things, the band does sound different, but this is something I like. They are heavier, they feel perhaps a little grungier, if you will. Not entirely, this is still a hard rock feeling kind of thing, but they do sound a lot heavier, which is something I really enjoy. I'm glad that Matt's coming in and bringing the heaviness. Matt's vocals are okay. You know, it's not something that I'm going to fall in love with. To me, it feels kind of generic. When he plays live, he is incredible. He just owns these songs. It's great. However, on the record, I just don't feel it's unique. I feel like it's something I've heard many times before. And I'm not trying to praise Adam here, but I preferred Adam's voice. I'm not saying who I prefer either way. I'm just glad the band is together because they're a great band. So take that for what you will. That's just a critique as it goes. But my big issue here is with the lyric songwriting. We have their new album coming out soon, Human. Now, what a great idea it is for a band like 3 Days Grace to do something like this. They've always been about exploring the human relations. Their first self-titled album as 3 Days Grace was very intensely emotional and went to some dark places of what a relationship and living is like. And it hit the nail right on the head, and I loved it. That's why I loved the first album and 1X, because they both explored that very well, especially the first album. It was kind of dark, and it was great. So I was excited when I found out that they were returning to the people they wrote the original songs with, as well as the original sound, making it heavier, but bringing back some emotional power to it, something to really make you feel. That's what matters to me in my music when I listen to a band like 3 Days Grace, something I can relate to. Now, we've had 2 singles come out in the past for this album. We've had Painkiller and I Am Machine. Now, when I first heard about Painkiller, I didn't know what to expect. I'm like, this is a ballsy song title, because of course everybody knows Pain off of 1X. That's one of 3 Days Grace's biggest claims to fame. And of course, it's an awesome song. So when you're expecting Painkiller, you're thinking, is this going to be some sort of spiritual successor to it? I just hope to God they're not going to try and copy what worked in Pain and make it work in another song, like Bullet for My Valentine did with Tears Don't Fall Part 2, and they fall flat on their face. Thankfully, that did not happen. That said, the song was incredibly repetitive. Now, is this a bad thing? No, I can understand, because both Painkiller and I Am Machine are #1, or at least were #1 on the active US rock charts for a while. And basically every one of 3 Days Grace's singles has attained that status, which is incredible. That's awesome. More than any band in history. That is so killer. It got 13 songs at this point, which is amazing. So, obviously, people do think they're doing something right. I don't think it's just happening for me anymore. Not because of the whole Matter Atom thing, but the lyrics and the songs itself are becoming very, very repetitive. Now, is it a good hook? Yes. In Painkiller, it's great because I could be your painkiller, killer, killer. You love me till it's all over, over, over. I mean, yeah, okay, it's repetitive, sure. But is it a great song to just jam the fuck out to? Yes, it is. It's fun. It's just one of those songs that you crank up on your stereo and you have a good time with. And it shows. People loved it. And it was a tune that after listening to it, it was just one that could get me in the mood. I was like, yeah, all right. They're coming back on maybe with a more poppy song to try and, get more people in. We're going to see more from them as it comes. Then we had I Am Machine. And now, Painkiller didn't have much change and evolution in the lyrics. The verses changed a little bit, but, not much, unfortunately. Of course, I'm not expecting the chorus to change because that's the one line that is repeated. The verses, however, didn't change much. So then we have I Am Machine that got released in November, I believe. And now, a lot was hyped up about this song. It's going to be one of the heaviest songs 3 Days Grace had given us yet. Alright, that was really cool. Now, it took me a little while to warm up to I Am Machine. But unfortunately, I feel I Am Machine also yet falls into the same category as Painkiller. Excuse me. It's an alright song. It's one of those crank up on your stereo songs, headbang it out, have a good time. Again, I am machine, I never sleep, I keep my eyes wide open. I am machine, a part of me wishes I could just feel something. I am machine, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Okay, again, repetitive, but yeah, we have the same strong line we're coming back to. I am machine. That's perfect, that's killer, it's going to be great live. And the verses do change a little bit, and again, exploring the nature of humanity. Here's to being human, all the pain and suffering. There's beauty in the bleeding. I do like that because that's a pretty deep lyric. That said, that also isn't something we have not heard before because a lot of bands have gone at that sort of approach. But still, I did like that it was explored. I Am Machine, I didn't quite feel it at first, but after a while I listened to it and enjoyed it and was just willing to, yeah, fuck yeah, crank it up on the stereo and love it. So now today we had the release of Human Race. Now I'd heard the snippet of this that was in the Human album preview, and it was the chorus, and man, did it sound like a hell of a hook. It was, I'm sick of running, sick of running, sick of running, the human race. The human race. I was like, alright, yeah, sure, we have that hook again. But man, this sounds like, because you could hear the verses going on in the background of that over the band members talking, and it was like, alright, this is something, finally, we're getting something different. And listen to it today. It's following in the same exact trend as I Am Machine and Painkiller. Now, I can understand. They're doing what works. And no hate for them towards that, but I can't help but feel that the experience of 3 Days Grace has been cheapened. Now, I'm not saying in the past songs like Pain were not repetitive, because of course you had pain without love, pain, can't get enough pain. Okay, yeah, it did happen. It did happen, without a doubt. You know, I hate everything about you. What's the main hook? Everyone knows, I hate everything about you. Okay, we know that. But at least in those songs, the verses changed and felt different. In this, it just kind of feels stagnant and the same thing. Painkiller did it, I Am Machine did it, and now Human Race is doing it big time. I almost feel taken for a fool listening to it because it just sounds like the same damn song halfway through, and in fact the song construction is rather sloppy, which really disappoints and upsets me because I've seen them live twice. I love this band. They are one of my favorite bands from a little while ago, from my older time. It's not that I've grown out of it. I'll still listen to bands like Linkin Park and Slipknot that I used to listen to back when I thought I was a hardcore metalhead, quote, quote. You know, obviously not. And I'll still enjoy it for old time's sake and have fun with it. I do the same thing with 3 Days Grace's new work, and I still enjoy Slipknot's new work, for example. You know, I haven't just left them in that era. I still enjoyed Slipknot's new album, even if it's the kind of music that I don't listen to anymore. Even if I live in the avant-garde fringes of metal alongside stuff like Arion and Mr. Bungle and Maudlin of the Well and K.O. Dot and Psy. Even if that's the stuff I listen to now, I still appreciate those old things, and when they release a new album, I enjoy it. Linkin Park's new album was great. The Hunting Party, that was one of their best albums in years. So it's not like I've grown out of the taste, it's just an old fond taste I've got. But the thing is, 3 Days Grace is going in a direction that I'm not really a fan of, which really disappoints me. I like the heavier music sound, that's great. But the lyrics and the way it's sung just has no passion to it to me anymore, at least in studio. Of course I'll go see them live and enjoy these songs live, and I might eventually warm up to the song in the same way I did for I Am Machine and Painkiller, but I felt like there was something that needed to be said here. It's the same repetitive lyrics the whole way through. It feels like I'm just listening to the same 45 seconds for, you know, 3-4 times over, and it's not fun. I'm not enjoying the song. Now, one thing to the song's credit is that it did have a nice little guitar solo from Barry. I enjoyed that. I think Barry's got a good guitar skill, but it's unfortunately not showcased. I'm glad it was. But, you know, Painkiller and I Am Machine have unfortunately sort of moved in a radio-friendly direction. Despite the fact that the music itself is heavier, the feel of the song and lyrics are way more simplified. Now, I listened to Human Race, and I ticked down every time I heard certain lines because there were many that were repeated. Now the song begins with, I don't belong here, not in this atmosphere. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Okay, cool way to begin the song. I like it, gets you into it. Unfortunately, the line, I don't belong here, not in this atmosphere, gets repeated 7 times throughout the song. It's not just some opening feeling. They keep on bringing it back. Well, okay, that's their motif. That's neat and all, I thought. Now we hear goodbye more times than any line in the song. 18 times goodbye is said. It matches 3 times per every I don't belong here in this atmosphere. Now, I know I said that there is, that I don't belong here is repeated 7 times. That's because one of the times the goodbye does not come after it. 18 times goodbye is said. Alright, I'm willing to forgive there. So then we have the line that brings into the first verse. It started with a kick and a punch. Now that's, again, I like the idea there, you know, it started with a kick and a punch and I was in the race, how we're thrown into life and humanity, not knowing what the fuck is going on, and we have to be a part of this massive human race whether we like it or not. I like that idea, but again, that line is returned to once after, it's repeated twice. And now, I was in the race is said 4 times, and unfortunately it works, it's done in a section of 2, where it says, I was in the race, yeah, yeah, and of course that's done again, that's done 4 times, and yeah is said 8 times. I can understand saying goodbye so many times because you're trying to set a dark tone, but yeah? Yeah is something that pop stars and rappers use as filler in their song. Yeah, yeah, okay, uh-huh. You know, of course we have the Dave Chappelle Little John skit. Well, that's what I was feeling in here, because all I hear is yeah, yeah. I feel that using yeah in your songs really shows some faulty songwriting and musicianship and filler in the lyrics. And that's what's going on here. It was kind of disappointing. Hearing all that yeah is what made me take notice. Now again, keeping up with the pace, keeping up with the pace, yeah, yeah. Keeping up with the pace was done twice. Okay, not too bad. I'm willing to forgive that because that happens. Now the I'm sick of running, sick of running, sick of running, the human race. Sick of running is repeated 6 times. So that's the I'm sick of running 3 times with done twice, you know. And now, ironically, one of the least repeated lines in the song is the human race. That's only said 5 times. Now, I find it ironic that things like yeah and goodbye are repeated more than the actual title of the song. I understand you want to say the title of the song because it's the chorus, it's the catchy bit, it's the part that we'll all come back to. But yet, okay, I'm alright with repeating the lyrics, like, you know, the I was in the race, or it started with a kick and a punch. Yeah, okay, keeping up with the pace. Okay, I don't belong here now in this atmosphere. It's repeated a lot more times than I'd like, but whatever, okay? And the lyrics hardly change. There's a bit of a change during the second verse, but overall we come back to what we already explored. The I don't belong here, not in this atmosphere, and the, you know, obviously the same chorus, and the it started with a kick and a punch, I was in there. It comes back to those. There's hardly any change. There is a little bit, but there's not much, and that's what really disappoints me. And I feel that this is the way the band is going. And you see, when the most said lyrics off the album are filler, such as goodbye and yeah, I'm not on the album, on the song are filler such as goodbye and yeah, that really makes me worried because we didn't need to do that in the older era. Again, I'm not trying to say Adam's work is better, but I'm just saying, as it stands, let's pretend that the vocalists never change. We're just looking at the band and their music in general. The older era, they never had to do that. The songs never had that yeah or goodbye filler. They might have had a little bit. I'm not saying 3 Days Grace was God's gift to songwriting, but they didn't have to have filler like that. Here it's ridiculous on double-digit levels that you have things like yeah and goodbye filling up your song. And that said, the song is kind of forgettable and generic. Yeah, sure, it's great that Barry has a guitar solo, but overall it feels like, again, from the vocals to the musical style, that sort of just sounds the same. Even though I do like the darker, slightly grungy edge to it, it doesn't feel original. The guitar solo is nice, but the lyrics, the way they're performed, the way the music sounds, it's just not original, and it's sort of a very radio-friendly kind of sound that isn't what I fell in love with 3 Days Grace for. Now, might the album be better? Maybe. We might have some really strong songs on there, and I do hope so. I'm not saying all hope is lost for this band, nor am I giving them any hate. I'm just voicing my opinion here and saying that I don't like the way these singles are going, because I'm starting to notice a very repetitive pattern where things are repeated over and over and over, and the lyrics are suffering, and it sounds generic, and we have filler words like the yeah. I don't know. This will probably be a fun song live. I'm not doubting that, and I'll enjoy it live. It'll be a nice heavy song to mosh to. But as far as it goes, it feels uninspired and lackluster, and I'm not enjoying it. Now, Human does come out very soon. I'm excited to hear what it sounds like, but I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'll let you guys know in a review. It'll be a follow-up to this. But based on how the singles are going, I'm not sure how excited I should be. But we'll see. Whatever the case may be, I am excited that there's going to be a new 3 Days Grace record and subsequent tour, but I'm not sure how excited I should be, given the fact that these songs all seem to become mass-produced out of a mold. Whatever, we'll have to wait and see. Thank you guys for coming out and listening to what I have to say. Hopefully you understand what I'm getting at, that I'm not hating on the band in any way, and we could go on from there, maybe have some lovely, intelligent discussion, but this is YouTube, so I don't know how well that's going to play out. Whatever the case, have a great day, guys. Rock on.